All right, let's pull back the curtain on the media you consume every single day. By the end of this explainer, you are going to understand the powerful, often invisible forces that decide what makes it onto your screen and, just as importantly, what doesn't.
Have you ever wondered about this? You know the feeling, right? You're scrolling and one story is just everywhere, while another one that seems way more important just disappears. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not random. There's a system at play.
And the answer is found in the day-to-day routines, the economic pressures, and all the institutional rules that guide the people who actually create our media. We're going behind the scenes to see how the sausage gets made.
Okay, so this right here, this is the core question. This is the exact kind of thing you're going to see on your exam. And this entire explainer is built to give you the framework to just nail that answer.
So, let's start with our foundational idea, what we call the production perspective.
Here's the key idea. We're not just looking at the final product, the TV show or the news article. We're looking at the process of making it. This perspective says that media content is the result of a whole recipe of social interactions and organizational rules. It's all about the how and the why it was made in the first place.
Think about it like this. A news story about a brand new phone isn't just a list of its features. It's influenced by the newspaper's relationship with that phone company, what the advertisers want, and what the editors think you, the reader, are actually going to click on. All of those things shape the final story you read.
And this brings us to a really fundamental conflict inside all media work. This constant push and pull between structure and agency. So on one side, you've got structure. These are the constraints, right? The budget, the deadline, your boss's opinion, the rules of the company. But on the other side, you have agency. That's the individual's creative spark. It's their freedom to make their own choices and to push the boundaries.
For instance, an editor being told they have to feature a story because it fits the paper's political stance, that is structure, plain and simple. But a filmmaker who fights the studio to keep a controversial scene that they really believe in, that's a perfect example of agency. All media is born from this constant negotiation.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into that idea of structure by looking at conventions and roles.
Conventions are basically the industry's unwritten rulebook. They're the accepted ways of doing things that make everything run smoothly and efficiently. Like the classic 3-act structure in a movie. It works, it's efficient, but it can also make movies feel a little formulaic, and that can definitely limit innovation.
This shows you how journalistic conventions work in the real world. A reporter doesn't just wander around hoping to find news. Nope, they have a beat, like politics or sports. They do daily rounds, calling the same important sources. They judge stories based on newsworthiness, and they often rely heavily on official sources. It's a very structured routine.
And this whole system creates one of the most powerful roles defined by these conventions, the gatekeeper. Editors, producers, studio executives, these are the people standing at the gate. They're the ones who decide which stories, which ideas, and which voices get through to the public, and which ones get stopped dead in their tracks.
And hey, major exam tip right here. You need to be able to apply this concept. Don't just spit out the definition of gatekeeping. Think about how it actually works. Who are the gatekeepers at a big news network versus, say, a reality TV show? The people making the decisions and their motivations are totally different, but the process is exactly the same.
Now, of course, the industry never stands still. So let's look at the modern pressures from technology and some new economic challenges.
First off, technology has been a massive disruptor. Convergence means a journalist today might have to write an article, shoot a video for it, and post about it on social media, all for just one story. Automation means algorithms, not just human editors, are now gatekeepers deciding what you see in your feed. And of course, the rise of creators on platforms like YouTube means traditional media has totally lost its monopoly on our attention.
But economics? That might be the biggest pressure of all. And there's a simple, kind of devastating reality here. As the demand for media companies to be more and more profitable goes up, the budget for expensive, time-consuming stuff like real investigative journalism often goes down.
And that financial squeeze, it creates these huge ripple effects. It can mean less diversity in newsrooms because companies are cutting back. And it creates massive ethical problems, like when a news outlet might quietly kill a negative story about a company that also happens to be one of their major advertisers.
Okay, so we've really hit the core concepts at this section. To keep your review going and to really test your knowledge, the full summary and a bunch of practice tests are all available for you at gradeguru.nl.
All right, before we wrap this up, let's just lock in the essential concepts you absolutely need for your exam.
Remember these 5 things. 1. The production perspective is all about the how. 2. Structure versus agency is the core tension. 3. Conventions are the routines that shape the content. 4. Gatekeeping is the power to control the flow of information. And 5. Modern pressures from money and tech are always reshaping the game.
So, I'll leave you with this. Now that you know what to look for, you'll never see media in the same way again. The next time you see a viral story or a huge headline, ask yourself, what conventions, what gatekeepers, what economic pressures brought this story to me and not another one? That's when you'll really get it. That's when you'll understand how it all works.